Helldivers 2 launched and said that a game for everyone is a game for no one. And then they sold the game to pretty much fucking everybody. This game has been suffering from success. Ever since it launched, there were server issues from success. There were balance problems coming from the success. There was just a million things that came along with Helldivers that just nobody would have seen coming. And I am damn happy about it because it's one of my favorite games that I've played in the last 2 years. But there's kind of no denying that ever since Helldivers 2 massive rebalance patch that they haven't really figured out where the balance of the game actually lies. It doesn't take a genius to realize that Helldivers 2 is suffering from power creep. What is power creep? Game difficulty continues to rise. You need to make the challenges harder and harder and harder. You introduce more and more new gear and equipment. That gear needs to be better than it was previously, and you as a Helldiver get stronger and stronger. And so to counteract the issues of power creep and giving us new, better gear every time they drop a new warbond, Helldivers does a new rebalancing patch, and then they go along and they buff enemies, they nerf older gear, they buff other gear. They kind of have gone all over the place. The game's initial vision was to essentially be a suicide run that always fails. You are not meant to survive in Helldivers 2 when the game first launched. They really wanted you to feel like you're just fighting overwhelming odds, you're jumping in, you're not going to make it. But everybody bought the game, and not saying that the masses are bad at video games, but the masses prefer to win, and a power fantasy started to develop because that power fantasy was kind of always underneath Helldivers to begin with. That game has some of the best feeling explosions out of any video game I have ever played. When you finally drop some ordnance on an enemy that has been driving you fucking crazy, it feels great. It is so good. The game feel, the juice, the stuff that people want to see, that fucking America fuck yeah moment of let's just burn everything down, tax dollars be damned. That's Helldivers. And holy shit, does it capture that feeling really well. For a game that is themed around the idea of like, we are going to suicide run you, I have no clue if they ever meant for all of it to feel as good as it did. Maybe these two ideas conflict a little bit. Either way, Helldivers 2 accomplishes being one of the most fun games that I've played in the last couple of years. I've had so much fun with friends and randoms just running around and blowing the living shit out of anything I see. The power creep issues have been obvious. Helldivers 2 has 23 warbonds right now. So a warbond, if you're not aware, is essentially a season pass, a battle pass. It's a little thing that you can purchase that luckily never expires. Thank you very much, Arrowhead. So you need to have an in-game currency of medals to go ahead and purchase all of your stuff. And there's nothing wrong with needing to grind a little bit to try and get your tiny expansion pass gear to go back in. But the problem is that there's 23 of them. That's a lot of stuff. Any new player coming into the game is going to see 23 tiny little paid expansions to the base $40 game and start to wonder, what am I missing here? So I will admit that the new player experience must be a little intimidating, and I feel like to solve that 23 warbond issue, maybe it's a good time to go ahead and make some yearly passes and say, hey, for $30, here is the entire year one set of warbonds. For another set of money, whatever you think that price is, here's the year two set of warbonds, and hand that off to a new player because 23 warbonds is pretty intimidating. I'm going to just tell them every single time that you should purchase Democratic Detonation to purchase Thermite. It's a clutch, but it is so strong at taking out heavily armored enemies that any new player who doesn't really know what they're doing just yet is going to need something to help them out. It's just way too good of a weapon. I feel pretty stupid for using it by myself most of the time, but it has a pick rate of like 50%. So what are you going to do? So other than issues of obvious power creep and enemies getting rebalanced up and down and all over the place, there could be a little bit more variety on main objectives. The procedural generation is one of the best parts of this game. Every time you drop into a new map in a new location, the organization of all of it is completely different. There's new biomes all across the board to always try and like give you variety. But I think that if they could figure out how to make some more templates for those procedurally generated objectives, things would just go a little bit smoother. I've played this game a shit ton. Like I mentioned, it is my top 3 most played game for Steam in the past 2 years, which is pretty nuts for me. I play a lot of video games. I am not somebody who just has like 2 or 3 games that I play endlessly. I bounce around a lot. Like, I love Helldivers II, and my time in the game alone tells me that. I've seen these objective templates many times over and over and over on repeat. So making a couple more templates for the procedural generation would probably go a super long way into giving the game a lot more variety. New biomes is great. I really love the biomes that have already been added recently. As a Star Wars fan, we've got some Mustafarian lava lakes and lava volcanoes. Those are pretty fun to fight on. The most recent location, it's like these tropical foresty areas that look good, feel fun to play in, and the fact that the whole game is based around massive explosions, it's also just fun to burn everything down. So biomes, good, but I don't think it would be a bad idea to go back and just make a couple more versions of current objectives. If we're going to be playing these types of things all the time and your game is this heavily based on procedural generation, I don't think it would be that much of a problem to just add in a couple more variants to it. It would make things feel a lot more fresh than they currently do. I think that Helldivers 2 has a couple of weird things going on here, and I also have some personal adjustments that I would like to be seen. Mainly of which, shoulder swapping, I think could be a lot better. It's really hard to see around corners if you have to do anything related to the left shoulder. I know that you guys based a lot of the character animation and movement and the character controller off of Metal Gear Solid 5. So I think that, like Metal Gear Solid 5, just having me tap the shoulder swap button and I'm permanently at the left side shoulder until I press it again and swap back to right would feel way better. That's what Arc Raiders does. That's what Metal Gear Solid 5 does. It would just feel so much better if you could switch between each one. That and the angle for your left shoulder in Helldivers 2 is just like not in the right direction. It's really hard for me to tell where my reticle is supposed to be landing sometimes because I'm walking in front of my reticle. Getting that a little bit tighter would feel way better. The mech also has this same issue with left and right shoulder swapping. You're essentially just permanently stuck using the right side of that camera unless you're just firing stuff when you're in the mech, which really sucks because sometimes I want to be able to see over my left shoulder when I'm driving that thing, and I can't unless I'm firing all of my weapons, and I'm just wasting ammo just so I can peek over the left. One other thing that I would really like to see adjusted is mouse driving controls added to the FRV. I was doing something kind of stupid on Twitter for a little while where I went like a whole month straight of replying to Pilstead and just tweeting at Pilstead until he finally decided to respond. But then he announced that he was stepping down as the creative director for Helldivers 2 and was going to go move on to the next project, and I went, I guess this experiment is over. So I stopped spamming him. But I really think that adding a little bit of mouse driving would make the FRV feel so much better on mouse and keyboard, and a lot closer to one of the other legendary shooters out there that also happens to have a 4-wheeled vehicle buggy type thing. I think it would just feel very nice. First strike. Although, to mention all of that, they did make the driving on the FRV a lot better with mouse and keyboard. I'm able to pull off drifts with the parking brake and kind of maneuver that thing a lot better than I used to be. So I think the controls have improved, but if you want that super precise, I'm going to drive where I'm going to want to drive as if I was using an analog stick on PC, just mouse controls are just the way to do it. Despite all of the power creep, I still suck ass at this game sometimes. These enemies and the types of stuff that they've been doing are really good. These new bugs are ridiculously fast, and just popping these tiny things, they will not let up. Like, I'm having a hard time getting away from these guys. I know anytime I bring my friends in with me, they are not able to keep up with some of the stuff stuff that the Terminids are doing. It's difficult. They've definitely kept that going. I'm having a shit ton of fun with Helldivers 2. I plan on playing this game for a very long time. There are some obvious signs of power creep and a few issues that are coming up here and there. The stealth missions that they added in recently are a shit ton of fun. Once again, as the self-proclaimed MGS fan, I'm pretty fucking happy, but just jumping into a solo mission by myself and just running stealth objectives. Good time, feels very rewarding. But the game is coming to this weird spot where I've been playing it for 2 years straight. It needs a little bit more variety. And I think you could definitely get there by including some more templates and helping that new player experience not seem so intimidating when they scroll down the War Bonds page for the first time. Hey, thanks for watching this thing. I can't believe that anybody's even watching this stuff to begin with. Please leave me a like, a subscribe. What do you feel like is going on in Helldivers 2? Are you still playing the game 2 years later? Do you have a favorite loadout? Do you have a favorite biome? What have you been up to? See you later.